SEGA Bits presents SEGA Talk, a podcast talking all things SEGA! With your hosts, George and Barry.
Look, it's a giant talking egg. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the master here. So what?
No, I did it right. I'm right. I'm always right.
Hello, and welcome to SEGA Talk. I'm your host, George, and with me, like always, is my shadow, my dark side, I guess. I don't know, is that what it is in this game? Barry, the Hedgehog.
Hello, George. How's it going?
We're going to be talking more about Shadow the Hedgehog, which, let's be honest, Sonic the Adventure 2 is Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game.
Just start the damn show.
All right. Before we start the show, we start talking about our memories. First, we always started off with if there's a Patreon pick, which is a tier on our Patreon, which you can check us out on www.patreon.com/SegaBits. You could pick an episode. That's right. And this episode was picked by Daniel Andress. He even said, like, this is going to be an impossible episode to do. So we took on the challenge. And to be honest, it was really hard because Sonic Adventure 2 has a lot of stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you read his message and his memories?
Can I? All right. And his memories. All right. Well, this is what Daniel Andress had to say. He said, Sonic Adventure 2 was the first 3D Sonic game that I ever played or saw. It's also the fourth Sonic game that I have ever been exposed to after coming off of Sonic 1, 2, and Advanced. I distinctly remember my family's Christmas of 2002 when I was at the young age of 8 years old. There was a special boxed shape gift labeled under family that we were all excited and anxious to open. Lo and behold, it was the Nintendo GameCube, and my very second home console after coming off the Dreamcast. We also had a few games with it. Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Party 5, and of course Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I was awe-inspired when I saw Sonic jumping out of the helicopter in that opening cutscene. I felt confused when I first saw Shadow with his very similar look to Sonic, but also intrigued. I remember wanting to see more of this game's story after seeing such moments like these and with Tails and Amy freeing Sonic from Prison Island, the mysterious writing on the prison walls. Not to mention, this game was the first time that I ever saw the Master Emerald in that moment between Knuckles and Rouge's feud. I didn't even know what the Chaos Emeralds were yet. That wasn't until I saw Sonic X, which this was all right before. At first, I personally didn't get that far in the game. I spent a lot of time watching my older brother Robert and his friends mess around with the game and progressing the story. However, my younger sister Brianna and I, we absolutely loved the Chaos. I still love them to this day. I remember that I had one blue Chao named Speedy, who was a beast at racing and karate. However, I never really let the poor guy sleep, and after a while, he got sleep paralysis. I feel really bad about that to this day, as I really didn't properly know how to take care of them at that time. Now my main Chao is a Chao named Kawa, who I've named after my daughter River. For the longest time I couldn't beat SA2B. I finally made it to Canon's Core after my surprised expression from unlocking the last story episode. I didn't have Knuckles' air necklace yet, let alone even known that it had existed. An old acquaintance of mine from middle school told me all about it and exactly what I had to do. This was all in 8th grade. I didn't beat the game until I was 14, and it's the first Sonic game that I have ever finished. I love SA2 so much, from its gameplay to its music to its atmosphere, not to mention all the unique playable character types. The first time playing City Escape and Metal Harbor were awesome and fantastic. The epicness of having to beat the clock in Green Forest, the frustrations that I felt with stages like Security Hall, Media Herd, and Mad Space, or the fun I had blowing up gun robots in Weapons Bed or Cosmic Wall. Each time that I finished a stage in this game, I felt a big victory to me I will never ever forget. For the first time I ever saw the epic moment of Shadow and Sonic turning super, or even the final hazard itself. Still one of the greatest Sonic final bosses ever, right next to Solaris or Metal Madness in my opinion, somewhere in between there. At the time I didn't think too deeply about SA2B. Now, after all that time later, I have had a lot deep thoughts of it as a whole. It's how it's Sega's last huge console Sonic game, and that Shadow is really the heart and soul of the whole game. or that it has impacted so many people and has birthed a lot of Sonic fans all over the world. I mean, that is huge. The game is, without a mind's doubt, the most loved Sonic game ever. And to close things out, he says, "It's a shame, really, that it doesn't seem like SEGA has any big plans for the game this year. Don't get me wrong, I'm very appreciative and happy for what they're doing. I'm still looking forward to Sonic Colors Unleashed and Sonic Origins and Sonic Rangers. However, this is only 10% of what I was hoping that SEGA had announced for the 30th anniversary. I was really hoping that we would have gotten a ginormous Sonic the Hedgehog history game collection for the end of the year. Just ports of the games with a brand new Sonic 3 remake from Christian Whitehead, and later on, sometime in 2022, we could have gotten like a DLC bonus of SA1 and 2 or something. However, we also would have had Sonic Adventure 3 announcement. Wow, this guy's really dreaming next to the game collection.
I was going to say, this is a lot of dreaming.
I'd imagine Aaron Weber, Yuji Naka, and Takashi Iizuka coming out on stage and saying, "Don't worry, it is coming. We just need a little more time. For now, here's all the other Sonic content," but that didn't happen. Oh well, a man can dream. Anyway, here's to 20 years. Oh yeah, I was like, what? Here's to 20 years Sonic Adventure 2, which is turning 20 this year. Even though if the rest of the series is technically your sequel, I still hope for a Sonic Adventure 3. And I also hope that I will leave it an impact on old and new Sonic fans and gamers, just like you did. So if that tells you how important this game is to some people, and believe it or not, we got another long one coming up at the end of the show.
Oh,
but
I know people really like Sonic Adventure 2. It's like this massive game to a lot of people, and you know, I had mixed feelings about the game, but now going back and looking at all the info that I had to gather, I'm like, this is a massive video game, like for a platformer.
Right.
So obviously Sonic Adventure 2 was huge, just like we heard from that Patreon message from Daniel. And it was supposed to be the follow-up for us. I mean, he got it for Battle, but for us, the more old school, I guess, Sonic fans that were older at the time, it was the way Sonic Adventure 2 opened the chapter for us for the Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure 2 sadly closed the Dreamcast's lifespan. This was kind of marketed at the time like the end of the Dreamcast, and this was like the last big present or last big AAA game we got. And of course, we're also going to talk about the enhanced, I mean, I guess I'm doing quotation marks, port on the GameCube called Sonic 2 Battle. That's actually brought a lot of discussion online, and there's a lot of YouTubers making videos about how either Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is the best version of the game. We'll talk more about that later. But what are your memories of Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? And I just want to say that, yes, this game turns 20 years old tomorrow because it came out on the 23rd to be the 10th anniversary of Sonic. So, yes, tomorrow, recording this episode is the 22nd. Tomorrow is the 23rd. It's going to be the 20th anniversary. It's crazy that this was 10 years, right? From Sonic 1.
Yeah.
And it feels like Sonic 1 from Sonic Adventure 2, there was such a leap in technology and gameplay. And now we're 20 years later, double the time span. It doesn't feel that huge.
No, it doesn't at all. Though, you know, if you're fishing for memories, I've got several. Though I'll keep it brief because I'm sure I'll be sprinkling my memories of the game throughout the episode. But Sonic Adventure 2 was a big one for me just because it was really the first Sonic game that I was there for on release since really, gosh, I want to say maybe like Sonic and Knuckles maybe, because I mean, sure, 3D Blast I got like day of release, but looking back, that, you know, it's not like a main series game. It wasn't a big deal at the time. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, that comes out soon. Let's go buy it. But this is the first one that was both a real event and I was like there for a day and date because, you know, Dreamcast I didn't get until a few months later because that September 9th release date's great and all, but when you are like a kid, you don't really get anything until Christmas or even your birthday if your birthday falls between September and Christmas. So, yeah, it was really exciting that a new Sonic Adventure game was coming out. Though it was also a little bittersweet because I think people forget that the Dreamcast was announced to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
I believe January or February of that year they made the announcement in 2001, but they were like, it was strange because, looking back, it's very sad. But I remember at the time it was like, wait, so it's discontinued, but there's still games coming out. And like the push behind this game was huge. There was, and I'm sure we'll talk about the trial disc that's in the notes.
Oh yeah, it's definitely in the notes.
But that was a big deal because I was starting to get into Phantasy Star Online because I was of the age where that was kind of like something for me to get into. And the idea of a trial disc for the new Sonic game being included in it is just huge. So I was like, I played that first before I played PSO just because I was like, I got to get into this. So I played a few rounds of that trial disc and then I was hooked. And so I pre-ordered it. It was one of the first games I pre-ordered because I knew that birthday pack was coming. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they did not give me the birthday pack because I forgot what game place it was. Maybe EB Games or something, but they suck.
Yeah.
Because what they did, they were like, if you buy the game on the release day, you get this birthday pack. Okay, well, I'll pre-order the game so that I can lock in my birthday pack. I show up after school and they say, oh no, we gave them all out. And I'm like, wait, so you were giving them out to anyone coming into the door, whether they pre-ordered or not? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I pre-ordered, you set it aside for me. And they're like, that's not how we're doing it. I was so pissed off. And so I think I bought it online from like NCSX or something, like one of those, early websites that were selling Dreamcast games. And I mean, from then on, I was good. I had my birthday pack, I had my game, and I just loved it. As for SA2 Battle, I don't want to pee in Daniel's pool, but I did not like the GameCube ports, even though I never played them, because they just angered me. It just seemed like they slapped a word on the end and were like, it's a better version. But I was like, it doesn't look better. And then in hindsight, like, they weren't better games. Like, Sonic Adventure DX is awful. And Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is like 2-player DLC.
All right.
I'm not a big fan.
All right.
I don't like it.
Well, I have some notes where I might change your mind, but I guess you're one of the haters I talk about later in the show. That's cool. But just like you, my first exposure to actually playing it was the trial disc. And I actually did not buy Phantasy Star Online at the time first. A friend of mine bought it, and I used to go to his house to play the trial disc over and over and over again. And I just thought like City Escape was so well done that like that sold me on the game. That's all I had to see. It was just like Sonic 1 when the beach level with the whale, but it was like turned up to 11. The graphics were incredible for the time. It was smooth. It had the new mechanics, the grinding and all that. And I was sold. I was sold 100% on that. Phantasy Star Online was also great, obviously. And so those are my early memories with the game. Beating it, probably spending way more time in the Chao. Adventure 2 Battle, I will say, if you're a Chao fan, Battle actually does have enough changes and additions to make it worth your while to actually come back and play that portion of the game. As for the regular game, there's changes that are obviously very negative, especially if you come from the Dreamcast that you're like, come on, that should be in here.
Right.
So let's get into development. Unsurprisingly, Sonic Adventure was a huge hit for Sega and a great way to launch the Dreamcast. But during the launch of Sonic Adventure, we also got another offshoot of Sonic Team, led by Sonic Adventure director Takashi Iizuka. They created Sonic Team USA, which was based out of San Francisco, where Sega Technical Institute, who developed Sonic 2/3/and Knuckles, used to live. And then they got closed down, and then they reopened this branch of Sonic Team. This would mean that during the Dreamcast era, there were two Sonic teams, Japan and USA. The first assignment that Sonic Team USA got was the localization of the first Sonic Adventure, and if you know about that game, they cleaned up a lot of bugs, they changed some of the graphics, they actually made it a lot better. You can listen we did a whole episode of Sonic Adventure, and that's Sega Talk number 19 if you guys want to check that one out. After the full release of Sonic Adventure International, which they re-released in Japan and made them double dip for the improvements, Sonic Team USA got to creating Sonic Adventure 2, while Sonic Team Japan, led by Yuji Naka, started to work on games such as Phantasy Star Online. Did you know growing up that Sonic Team was split into 2 teams? And what was your opinion during this time of them creating games like Choo Choo Rocket Samba, The Amigo, and even Phantasy Star Online?
I was well aware of it. I remember reading in magazines how it was a big deal that Sonic Adventure 2 was being made out of the US. And I distinctly remember when I first started playing the game, I would like take a look at it and be like, this does seem a little more US inspired. Like it's San Francisco, in the first stage. And then, it just feels more American. You play Sonic Adventure 1 and I always felt that like Station Square felt a little like European. Yeah. If anything, it didn't really feel like an American city, but yeah, SA2 just felt like American Sonic. And then on top of that, Visual Concepts, was promoted as doing the motion capture. I remember in early articles they would talk about that too. And what is Visual Concepts known for? NFL 2K. So to have like the NFL 2K guys working on a Sonic game, like how you can't get any more American than that.
So, I actually have to agree with you. I didn't know about the split into 2 teams. I just thought they were just Sonic Team, and they like worked really, really hard and made a lot of good games. Because at the time they were going crazy. They were just like every other week they had another new game coming out. But this is funny that I'm reading the notes, and it's like it starts off with Iizuka saying that the first thing they did in development was fix the story. But I also read some of the other interviews later. And he says that that this isn't about the story, but that's when you read about development, that's the first thing he tried to fix. So it's Iizuka being weird in interviews like always, but yes. And one of the biggest things they wanted to introduce was a dark Sonic. That's what he was known for in early development. This would mean that there would be yet another new character introduced to the Sonic universe. When we talk about Shadow, they actually showed off his early sketches where he had the scars and stuff. You remember that? We talked about that in the Sega News Bits. So if you guys want to check that out, I don't want to get too into this on here, but he kind of looked like the guy from Sonic 06 more than he did Shadow, and he kind of looked, I would say, I like the Shadow we got. I think that was our assessment in that video, and I think I stand by it. But seeing that Sonic Adventure 2 is let's say Sonic Adventure is Mega Man and Sonic Adventure 2 is Mega Man X, do you think that they needed to make it more, I guess, teenage friendly or grown up? I wouldn't say it's grown up. It still has a lot of like fantasy built into it, but it's definitely compared to Adventure, it's like 10 years later kind of a thing for the audience.
Yeah, I would say I think it worked because at the time, 2001, let's see, how old was I? 84, 94. Boy, yeah, I was a teenager, late teens maybe. So, it definitely was targeting me. I think if the game came out and played like Sonic Lost World or something and felt very kiddie or Sonic Colors, I probably wouldn't have been as into it. People forget that the gritty storylines were actually good. At one point. That's why there are fans of it. So Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of like peak good gritty story before the dark times.
I agree 100% with that. I think Mega Man X isn't really even a grown-up story either. It's just more anime-ish, more like a teenage shonen jump.
Right.
So
it felt like a Dragon Ball Z Sonic story.
It's like, like Dragon Ball, where like Dragon Ball was more like farts, butt jokes for kids, and then Dragon Ball Z was more like, I'm going to punch you in the face really hard and scream, and people are going to die. That's fine.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. Let's talk about adding new characters. I think even in this time, every single Sonic game had a new character. So the fact that when I was reading back in the day, they were like, do we need another new character? And at this point, I'm like, you got to understand, though, has there been a Sonic game to this point that didn't add a new character? And what's your opinion about adding new characters in Sonic games?
I mean, at the time, you have to remember, it was basically Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure. Like, that was kind of the main thing. I really don't feel like the main series was, like, unknown, though. Like, we were playing Sonic Adventure and still thinking of, like, Spinball and 3D Blast. I don't think there was a big line drawn for fans there. You get the birthday pack for Sonic Adventure 2, and they very clearly add like a bunch of those other games in there. So with that in mind, it didn't really feel like they were adding a lot of characters, because even though we were kind of getting like one new character per game, the party games just kind of kept all those characters. You know what I mean? Like racing didn't add a bunch of new unique characters. So I don't know, like it didn't bother me. What was it? Like Shadow and Rouge. That's it, right? Yeah.
Oh.
And they cut out Big. They cut out E102.
Yeah.
So really, it just felt like they were replacing those. They felt like replacements.
And they also had...
and I think that's what a lot of kids were thinking at the time. Yeah.
They also had Dr. Eggman's grandpa and Maria. I mean, I don't know. Those aren't really playable characters. They're just story characters.
Yeah, those are NPCs.
Yeah, so no.
Not even NPCs. Those are like...
dead NPCs.
Cutscene characters. Background characters.
For sure. It's like the president.
Dead NPCs. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I guess, to answer your question again, even though I think I just did, they were replacements. They weren't new characters. I mean, they were new to the series, but they weren't added on. It's not like, oh, now you can play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, E102, Big. You know, it wasn't like that, president. Really. But Amy was cut out, too. Amy was an NPC. Not even an NPC, cutscene character. It's not like you could go up and talk to her, I don't think.
She should have joined...
there were no adventure fields.
She should have joined Shadow. And she could have looked for treasure.
Has any fan made an Amy Shadow? You know what I'm talking about? Like a dark Amy.
Oh my god, probably, yeah. Don't Google it, please, guys.
I'm going to draw that right now, guys.
Okay, rumor of Sonic Adventure 2 started all the way back in May 11th, 2000. Then Sonic Team actually came out and finally released a handful of screenshots at E3 and a trailer. This gave us the first glimpse of the game, which showed off City Escape, Knuckles, Dr. Eggman, and the return of Chao Garden, and a small glimpse in the end of Shadow the Hedgehog. This would be the first...
I remember that.
This would be the first exposure to a lot of, at least, Dreamcast fans. If you were a Nintendo fan, you probably don't know. I mean, you've probably never seen this, so this would be the first time. Let's play it. Are you ready? This was uploaded on a little site called the Sonic Stadium. Have you heard of them? They're pretty popular.
I have.
Dude, I got to give them credit. They got to give them credit because I was looking at Sonic Adventure 2 info from 2001, and they were posting about it in 2001. So kudos to whoever posted those posts.
Yeah, good for them.
So here's the trailer. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Sonic Team presents.
Oh, it uses the Sonic Adventure sounds. I forgot about that. Like the intro to Open Your Heart.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Oof. Techno. Dancing.
Welcome to our club.
Justice evil. Yin yang.
Yin yang. Light shadow. Creation, destruction. Truth lie.
I like it.
Original fake. Future past. Chaos cosmos. Hero dark. Master Emerald. High-speed escape. World conquest. Sonic the Hedgehog. Knuckles the Echidna. Dr. Eggman. Showdown. Revenge. Chaos Emerald again. Top secret weapon. Ultimate life.
In shadow, right here. 10th anniversary.
Sonic 10th anniversary.
That's probably one of the best anniversaries.
The new perfume from Dreamcast.
It's an interesting.
What the?
It's the interesting trailer. It's very it actually started a lot of people to get upset after it came out. Apparently, one of the things the fans noticed that liked Sonic Adventure was the lack of other friends, mainly Tails, from which this from the trailer. So Yuji Naka apparently had to dodge a lot of questions during this time period because he didn't really want to say yes. He just kept on either dodging the question and all of it and just changing the subject, or he'll say wait and see. And a few months after E3 2000 trailer, on September 22nd, Sonic Team and Sega held a Sonic Team Festival on SegaTeam.com, SonicTeam.com. This was an early start of online marketing at the time. They would release screenshots every day for 10 days, and they released a ton of screenshots. I couldn't find the start of it on the Wayback Machine, but I do have one right here. If you're watching the video, where what their website used to look like. So it's very bad. I mean, you know how it was back in the early 2000s. I just like the fact that they have their picture down here in San Francisco in the bottom. And it says, "What do you think? Stay tuned for more information from Sonic Team USA here in San Francisco." So it was like way more personalized, right? With the developers and stuff. And it felt like it's like something that they should, I don't know, bring back, where the developers give you little messages like this and they make a bigger deal about the developers. I feel like that kind of era is come and gone. So that's cool. I will say, do you remember the time when people were discussing the whole, I don't remember the trailer specifically, but I remember people saying that the early, on forums or whatever, even though I couldn't find any info on this, it was just people talking on forums, right? Where they said that the original idea behind Sonic Adventure 2 was supposed to be that you play as Sonic, Knuckles, and Eggman, and you guys are trying to stop Shadow the Hedgehog, who's just an NPC, non-playable character, and that they changed it because people got upset that they wanted more gameplay, so they compromised by basically cloning every character. So Sonic was Shadow, Knuckles was Rouge, which doesn't make any sense. She wasn't even shown until way later in development. And then that Eggman and Tails, obviously, because everybody kept on asking about Tails. That's the rumor I heard, and when I started seeing the notes, I'm like, I can see why people would think that. But do you ever hear that rumor about that?
I have not heard that rumor. I remember when people were saying Shadow's name was going to be like Terios or something. That was weird. There were lots of weird rumors.
Yeah.
I mean, but it also depends on where you are. A lot of these things would happen in schoolyards.
Definitely in schoolyards.
So you wouldn't see it online. Other times it would happen in. I wasn't in the Sonic Stadium forums at the time. I don't even know what state they were in, but I was in the Sonic Foundation forums, and they were a pretty, I think at the time, the biggest Sonic forums. And they were only forums from, no, they had a website function, but it wasn't a blog or anything. And yeah, there was just a lot of strange things being said back then. But I remember Eggman being playable. I think there maybe was a general fear that Shadow would replace Eggman and you wouldn't get to play as him. Which makes sense because we didn't know at the time that there would be a hero-villain mechanic.
No.
We were just thinking Sonic Adventure rules, and we're like, well, then Eggman becomes good, and then you fight the bad guy, which is Shadow.
Yeah.
Which, makes sense. It makes sense.
So this is the first time in this game that we got the grinding mechanic, and also the first time we got to play as Dr. Eggman as a playable character in a mainline Sonic game. What are your opinions on this aspect of Sonic Adventure? Like, the fact that you could grind and now you get to play as Eggman, was that a big deal to you? Did you even think about it, or did you just play the game and were like, oh, cool, it's Eggman, I guess?
Well, first off, the grinding mechanic, I remember at the time, I think both in the official Dreamcast magazine and just like amongst fans, there was a thought that it was Jet Set Radio that really pushed Sega to make this change, because it's like 1-to-1 Jet Set Radio. You jump and you grind on a thing. Other people were saying, oh, it's because Tony Hawk is really big right now. I don't really know why Sega did it. Maybe you'll tell me and I'll like learn something new.
They didn't talk about it. But yeah, people did say that Jet Set Radio was an influence within Sega. But at the same time, I feel like Tony Hawk probably influenced Jet Set Radio in a way, but they made it their own version of it, like inline skating.
Right.
So after this, Sonic Team released Sonic Adventure 2, The Trial, with each copy of Phantasy Star Online giving gamers a way to play City Escape for the first time. In this stage, the setup is that Sonic is jumping out of a helicopter away from a group known as G.U.N. and city boarding throughout San Francisco. Do you remember this time period when Phantasy Star Online 2 had the demo? And admit it, did you buy Phantasy Star Online just to play Sonic Adventure 2?
Well, no, I intended to buy Phantasy Star Online because I remember all the hype behind it with Sonic Team connected. And really, I would buy any game with Sonic Team attached, so that wasn't a problem. But on top of that, I was a big fan of all the things the Dreamcast could do, and PSO was really the promise of online gameplay, which was promised from the beginning. And so Sonic Adventure 2 was just kind of like icing on the cake. Like I said, I remember playing it, but I played it like a few times because I was also itching to play PSO. But it was so difficult because I knew PSO, once you get into it, it's going to be a time suck. You have to set up your character. You know, it's not like an Xbox or a PS5 where you can just return to your menu and like switch between games. You know, it was like once you're in, you're in. So I played it, 2 or 3 times, and then I was like PSO 2 time or PSO time,
So this is the first time we've seen G.U.N, which is something that was introduced with Shadow and the whole story. What is your opinion on G.U.N, and do you think that they're still needed in the Sonic universe?
No, I don't think they're still needed. I think they had their reason to exist in this game, but we didn't need them to become an ongoing, character in the series. I think it was kind of a surprise, though, to see this like military presence suddenly capturing Sonic, especially after everyone was so friendly to him.
Yeah.
In Sonic Adventure. So it's not like the Sonic movie. And I think that's where the Sonic movie actually gets a lot of ideas, is that the military is after Sonic. And as seen in the Sonic movie 2, G.U.N will play a role. So in that sense, it makes sense. But like in the Sonic universe, it doesn't make sense that people are like, oh, who are these strange creatures? Like, people were fine with it. People weren't like, oh my god, a talking hedgehog. Holy crap. I do wish, though, that Sonic Unleashed made references to it. I think it would have been cool to like have them appear as a cameo. And sure, we got them in Generations, but that's more of a callback and not like a continuation of G.U.N existing in the series. So, yeah.
Well, at this point, we all knew that Dr. Eggman, Knuckles, and we even had a playable demo already, right? Shadow the Hedgehog and even Rouge the Bat were kept secret until, like typical Sonic Team fashion, they got leaked. This time by a toy company called Resaris. Do you remember these toys they used to make? They used to make Sonic Adventure ones.
They are right
there
on the shelf.
They're kind of like Funko Pop in a way, with their like crazy eyes and stuff, but you want to see the Sonic Adventure 2 toys? They never came out. They went out of business because, I don't know about it wasn't because of the leak. They financially went out of business before they released them. Sega wouldn't hype up the Rouge the Bat until April 2001, basically 2 months before the game release. So they kept They kept her under lock and key. And that's why I was like, man, maybe that rumor was true, right? What do you think? Why do you think Sega took so long to even show her off? Like, I felt like another new character would have just added more hype to the game. Like, oh, now there's a bat in this game with big old brain.
Watch yourself.
Big brain.
There you go.
Big ears.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Rouge wasn't really on my mind until late. Yeah, so that was kind of surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, she's the Tails in the game, which is a really weird. She's like Tails' shadow, which is really bizarre. She's
supposed to be Knuckles' shadow, but
because right? Well, I mean, technically she's like the Knuckles of the game, but she can fly. I don't know. Weird stuff. Like the fact that like Tails and Eggman are basically like rivals in this game is so weird. So weird.
Before we move on to more talk, I have to talk about this because it's one of the things that always bothered me growing up about this game was the adventure fields aspect of Sonic Adventure was completely cut out. I mean, it is called Adventure Fields for a reason in a game called Sonic Adventure. I did read some interviews and was wondering what Sonic Team's PR answer was for this. And this is Azuka talking about it. He said, in the original Sonic Adventure, you had the quick action sequences combined with field action sequences, exploring, item hunting, etc. In Sonic Adventure 2, we mix the sequences depending on each character. For example, Sonic is the fast-paced action sequence, Tails was the shooting sequences, and Knuckles was the exploration item finding sequences. So definitely doesn't say why there's no open hub world. But he says all the stuff you did on the hub world is within the game, so you don't actually need it. What is your opinion on Sonic Team
I guess.
What is your opinion on this answer or just Sonic Team removing Adventure Fields, period?
I mean, I don't remember being too bothered at the time. I think it was like, oh, cool. So it's like the classic games where you just play stage after stage, but it mixes it up like in Sonic Adventure. So if anything, it's like speedrunning Sonic Adventure because instead of playing this character for 3 hours, this character for 3 hours, you play
all of them.
A little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And to be quite honest, like I don't know if I prefer it, but it was new and different and faster paced at the time, and I think that's a good thing. But yeah, what did you think of that?
I really liked the adventure field on it. I did notice it. It wasn't a huge deal. I think the bigger deal for me was that in Sonic Adventure, for the first one, you could just play as Sonic if you wanted to, which is, let's be honest, the coolest levels. And you didn't have to take a break and then play like, oh, Big the Cat. You could choose to play Big the Cat. You would unlock these other perspectives to the story, which I thought was interesting. I wish they would have kept that on here where you would be able to play as Sonic for a while. And then when you meet Shadow or any character, you unlock their story. I mean, it might have made the game a lot shorter because there wasn't as many Sonic and Shadow levels, but it would have made the experience, I guess, more action-packed for people. Like, I think some of the treasure hunting stuff just made me like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I gotta play as Knuckles right here. God damn it, Knuckles. I love you, you son of a bitch. But anyway, Not long after the first playable demo, Sega actually announced their partnership with Soap Shoes being the official Sonic the Hedgehog footwear for Sonic Adventure 2. Official. At this time, Soap Shoes Company was only a few years old, being founded in 1997, and it actually gained popularity with its online and video game marketing. For young people that don't know what soap shoes are, they're basically regular skate shoes, but like in the middle of it where you're like, the middle of your foot, there's like this plastic thing that's like kind of like curved in and you could grind on things, right? Like a skater. Here's what they used to look like if you're watching it on video. They're basically just skate shoes with the plastic thing under it. You would be able to like, I guess, butter but I don't know what they did. They waxed the pipes or whatever. Do you remember the era of soap shoes? And did you own a pair of soap shoes after Sonic at least?
I remember the era of soap shoes, but it was a very brief one.
Very brief.
I recall them not being too prevalent. It was kind of hard to find them. And by the time they were gone, they started going up in price, and now they're pretty expensive.
I knew.
Have you looked into how much they sell?
No,
for?
I don't want them. I was going to say,
Right.
I knew a kid that used to have them when I was in school, like 8th grade, maybe 7th grade. I remember it was middle school because I remember that he used to bring them, and he was always showing off. And then he also got these other shoes where they were like, they were regular shoes, but in the shoe that this wheel would come out, and then they would become rollerblades. This guy thought he was the most slickest guy in the world, dude. It was funny. I loved it.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I just did an eBay dive for soap shoes. There are only 8 listings, one of which are just the grind plates.
Oh, God.
For like, I guess for other things. So basically, well, can you guess, what do you think the cheapest one is?
I mean, you also have to get it $200 probably.
$171.99 is the cheapest one.
Oof.
And they're in so-so shape. The most expensive asking price is $1,000.
But the thing is,
and
they're ugly as fuck. I mean,
they're so ugly. And what's so annoying is they never made Sonic ones.
No,
they never made ones that look like Sonic's shoes. For a series that's so dependent on the character's shoes, they've never released shoes that look just like Sonic's. It's always like, oh, coming from, I don't know, like, who's the big one? Like, I don't know, Adidas, it's Sonic shoes, and they're, like, blue with, like, this palm tree on it. Like, that's not Sonic's shoe. Stupid. Don't be stupid.
I don't like these shoes. I think I'm glad they're gone. It was a bad era. It's just a dumb gimmick. They were really trying to get off the whole, like, everyone's playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, so now you could become a skater without skating.
Hell yeah.
Like, if you were too afraid to, like, skateboard, you could buy these shoes and grind anyway.
Right.
I won't be talking about the full story here, but this is the story section. But I will go with the summary that I found online, and it doesn't even really, like, capture this. Like, this story is so complex for some reason. I don't know why, but this is the synopsis that is supposed to tease you into this game, right? Learning of a secret weapon from the diary of his deceased grandfather, Professor Gerald Robotnik, Eggman infiltrates a high-security gun facility and revives it using the Chaos Emerald. The weapon, a black hedgehog, and self-proclaimed ultimate life form named Shadow, offers to help Eggman conquer the world, telling him to rendezvous at an abandoned space colony, Ark, with more Chaos Emeralds. Shadow goes to Central City, encountering Gun's forces after stealing an emerald. Shadow is vowed to fulfill a promise to a girl, Maria, which he interprets as one of revenge. Shadow blasts through military force and meets Sonic. After a brief confrontation, Shadow escapes and Gun captures Sonic, whom they mistake for Shadow. So let's start talking about these new, I guess, story elements. While the first Sonic adventure explored more into the history of Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 2 dives deeper into the history of Eggman by first introducing Gerald Robotnik. What are your thoughts on this revelation?
That was huge, like, to see his extended family and to have them bring Robotnik into it. Because at this time, I felt like American fans were starting to realize that Robotnik was an American invention. Eggman was his Japanese name. And I think there were a lot of, like, otaku kids who were, like, on the playground going, actually, you know, his name's not Robotnik. It's Eggman, and I've been calling him that since 1991. And then to have this game come out, and I had a friend that did that. He was, like, super into anime. He's been to Japan.
You're not going to name drop him?
All that. And then,
You're not going to name drop him?
His name's Andy.
Okay, I thought he was someone online that I might have known. Sorry.
No, I don't know if he's what's so funny is he's the one that got me into, like, Sega. I mean, I was into Sega, but, like, he's the one that really introduced me to more of, like, the Sonic OVA and, like, Power Stone and, like, importing games, and, like, the Japanese side of things. So I do appreciate that he, like, educated me a little on, like, what's what, but he was also kind of an asshole about it because it would be like,
Robotnik.
oh, you call him Robotnik. That's cute. And I'm like, I called him that because that's what everyone else called him. Like, I'm sorry I didn't like have an internet
Sorry.
modem in 1991.
Sorry, dude.
It's like, sorry, dude. But that was a huge deal.
Huge.
And it was pretty wild too that everyone was dead.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're like dead NPCs. Like we have dead characters. And that was a thing at the time because if you were playing Phantasy Star Online, Red Rain Rico was a huge deal and she was dead.
Yeah, exactly. It's felt like they were
much.
both doing kind of similar ideas here.
Oh yeah, PSO and Sonic Adventure 2 had a lot in common. Like the later stages feel like Phantasy Star stages. It's weird.
So, Geralt Robotnik, was he ever brought back? Maybe comics, I would assume so, yeah, right? But he was never brought back in the video games.
I don't think so.
It's kind of sucks because, like...
I could be wrong.
I feel like it's something that could have been explored more with Shadow, because he doesn't really have a story right now in the modern franchise. He's just kind of there, and he just kind of, like, has his hands crossed and looks really cool in the back. Another thing about the story was Shadow and his story with Maria as a front and center. What are your thoughts about these two's dynamic and the idea that he's just a sad emo boy that lost his owner?
I mean, it's weird because Sonic has no history. And so to have his rival come out and be like he was created by Robotnik's grandfather and he had a close attachment to this girl named Maria, who's like, I guess, Robotnik's aunt?
Yeah.
Right? Because if she's the daughter.
And they created a hedgehog, which is going to become his grandson's rival? Or his son's rival? Or
the ultimate life form is a hedgehog. And it isn't until the Shadow the Hedgehog game that they reveal like that he made a pact with aliens to create him. But there's no like real explanation as to why he's a hedgehog.
No.
It's weird. And also Robotnik, Eggman, he never goes like, my father created the ultimate life form, which is a hedgehog, and you are my greatest enemy. I hate hedgehogs. How can they be there's no, like, there's some weird shit in this game.
There is some weird stuff. That's why I just wanted to say, this is also the first and only game, maybe Sonic Heroes, that separates the narratives from Hero and Dark compared to Sonic Adventure, where it was just basically the hero story. Before, you never played as the Dark characters. This is the first time. What's your opinion on this change? To me, obviously, it was the whole marketing of it was around that, and that obviously hyped me up. I'm assuming it hyped you up too, because it's like a new aspect of Sonic.
I mean, the thing is this was the 10th anniversary game, so I feel like it just felt like an event game already, and we were all ready for something new and exciting, and this definitely delivered. The fact that it finally lets you play as Eggman was huge, and I mean, looking back, that felt like an anniversary-sized event, because, it wasn't just Sonic's anniversary, it's Eggman's anniversary too.
Yeah.
So to be like, hey, for the 10th anniversary, Eggman is finally playable like in a main series game. He's not just like a little racer anymore. So that was huge.
I really thought that Sonic Forces was going to allow you to play as Eggman. I thought it was going to be a surprise, like way later on, or maybe some of the other villains too, because they really did hype it up as the villain video game, and I was so disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the characters in this game. First, I guess we could talk about the gameplay while we talk about the characters. Obviously, they copy each other, so it's the yin and yang, right? Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog copy each other's gameplay. I would say that probably the biggest thing they added here was the grinding, which we already discussed, and the somersault,
right?
Which lets you dive under hazards, lets you break boxes, and it was kind of like Mario's Punch from 64 in a way. You could tell they were influenced by that, and it was a good addition. They also used it in Sonic Advance games. Just like Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2 also had unlockable items that granted Sonic new powers. This game also obviously had the light shoes for Shadow and Sonic that lets you go through a string of rings, and then the Ancient Light that lets you go through a string of enemies. Those return back. But they also introduced new powers. I just put the Sonic names on here because I was too lazy to find the Shadow versions of these items. But once the bounce jump, okay? And this works like Sonic 3's water shield, but is done through a bracelet. Sonic Retro says that it's the same move, but I don't think so, because one's an item you get, and this is an item you get, but if you don't have that shield around you, so it's not a shield. It's just an item that lets you bounce when you hit the ground, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. In this game too, it like dumped movements on you. Like Sonic can do once you get to the end of the game. Sonic can do a lot. I think, if anything, he can do more in this game than any other game before or since. Like, Generations comes close, but you have to pick and choose what you can do.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, the amount of movements you can do, the bounce. I love the bounce.
Yeah.
It's so goofy, but like, boing, boing,
yeah.
boing.
It's great.
Boing, you know?
There was also the flame ring that lets you go through metal crates. There was also the magic gloves that lets you...
McTiny.
Yeah, it makes you grab enemies and put them into capsules and then throw them at other characters. And then the Mystic Melody that every character has.
I love Mystic Melody.
Here's now we're getting to the interesting bits. Tails and Eggman. It's crazy because throughout their history, they are kind of like each other. They both like inventing stuff and they both like robots. It just makes sense that they have similar gameplay. Like, they are kind of each other's opposites in a way. I mean, he's an old man, he's a young boy. So yeah, it's like, and they both invent gadgets. So it's like, come on. The same way Sonic and Shadow use that, obviously they do too. But this time they gypped the EO2 Gamma gameplay from the first Sonic Adventure title, which makes our robot go away, sadly. Tails uses a bipedal version of Tornado 3, aka the Cyclone, while Eggman uses an Egg Walker, and which actually sounds like something retired folks who can't walk too good use, you know what I mean? Hey, what do you got? Yeah. I got the Egg Walker.
The Egg Walker.
Both these characters play similar. Obviously, you shoot the button, you hold it, the action button, and then you could like, what is it, homing? You could home a bunch of attacks, kind of like Panzer Dragoon in a way.
Yeah, it was a lot like Panzer Dragoon, you're right.
Yeah, you could get some of the items you got for upgrades were like the booster / jet engine, depending on who you played as. This would allow you to like hover, which is essential in this game, especially for the later levels for these characters. The bazooka / large cannon, which is to shoot through metal crates, which is something that every character had to have an item to do. And then returning from the EO102 Gamma story, an upgrade. It's called Laser Blaster, which allows you to upgrade the missiles so you could have more things on screen. And now we got the game. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Knuckles and Rouge the Bat, which, man, when I was growing up, these two characters gave me so many goddamn headaches, dude. So many headaches. So they're a copy of each other's gameplay. It's obviously Sonic. Knuckles' combat from the first game came back. He has some uppercuts. You could punch. They're both pretty cool. They actually feel like they should have like an action game built around their mechanics, but they don't. This time around, you go underwater. That's new. But issue is finding actually emeralds on this game is harder than the first adventure game, which is weird. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what Sonic Team was thinking. Some of the upgrades you get is the shovel claw / pick nails, which you could dig through the ground. Hammer gloves / iron boots that let you destroy steel containers. And the sunglasses / treasure scope, the ability to see invincible items. And obviously the Mystic Melody. What are your... Okay, out of these three gameplay mechanics, obviously Shadow and all that, which one is your least favorite? And you could be honest, dude. It's cool. I'm not going to judge.
I think the shooting stages were my least favorite.
Really? Why is that?
They got old. Like, there was just... At certain times, you were just holding down and spinning the thing because you just want to target as many things at once. There wasn't too much, I guess... I just felt like button mashing.
Oh yeah,
and I guess the way the vehicles move too, because you'd spin, you go click it, bip, 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 and then Eggman's machine will go. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you spin too much, and you're like, if it was Sonic, he would just be walking like this. But with Eggman, it was like,
for sure.
And it was just like silly to be like navigating corridors in these giant machines and seeing them like, they never struggled, but just the amount of movement going on with them was just ridiculous when you're just trying to like walk through a corridor.
And also,
it shouldn't be that difficult.
And the like Omega, Gamma, Omega, whatever his name is, his gameplay on Sonic Adventure 1 was basically the same thing, kind of, right? But like I only have like, he was the shortest story, I think, him or Big the Cat. And I already felt like I already had enough of this. Like it was just long enough. Where I was like, that was good. That was cool. It was a little snack. Here, they kind of like try to make it its own thing. And maybe they should have had some like rail stage shooting games where like they would break up the action by having like a Panzer Dragoon type level randomly within. Maybe, I don't know. Sonic Team knows better than this. Yeah. Let's talk about, next we could talk about everyone's favorite aspect. I always hear about this. The Chao Garden. You hear about this before?
Never heard of it.
Sit back and let me explain. Sonic Team brought back the Chao Pet Raising Simulator, or at the time it was known as A-Life, not a pet simulator, back to Sonic Adventure 2, revamped and expanded. Now, to enter the Chao Garden, you must find a Chao container to join the world, but after you find it, you actually could just do it through stage select. What did you like that, the whole finding the container? Like, I don't know why they just didn't put it in the menu. Like after a while, stupid.
I think the problem is that I get what Azuka was trying to do, like putting the exploration in the stages. But if you're playing through the game the first time, like, what's your goal? Is your goal to explore? Is your goal to get the best score? Is your goal to have the shortest time? Like, I mean, it was a very replayable game, so that's a good thing. But like, yeah, like, am I going to spend time looking for the Chao key when I really just want to keep the game moving or have the fastest time for something? More often than not, I would just like get lucky, find the key, and be like, "Oh, I guess I'm going to go see the Chao now." But I never was like, "Oh, I got to find that key." You know? Yeah. I think that's my one maybe complaint about the game, is that it's like you have to choose what way you want to play beforehand. You can't just be like, I don't know.
I think I got you.
I think adventure stages probably would have, or just let us. You don't need a key. Just let us in every time.
Anytime.
Like ask, do you want to visit the Chao Garden now?
Sure, anytime. So the game included the regular Chao Garden that we all know and love, and then a Hero Garden and the Dark Garden to unlock. The Dark Garden is obviously the coolest one, the one that looks the most different. Just like it was basically just the theme for Sonic Adventure, right? It was supposed to be dark and evil, so the fact that they have a hero and the dark makes sense. You could also raise Chaos as Dark Chao or a Halo, like it has little devil horns, and you could also have a Hero Chaos too. That was pretty cool, I thought. The addition to the whole system. Chao Racing returns, but this time instead of just having beginner and jewel races, we had beginner, jewel, hero, and dark. The racing also has a challenge races where you could basically go against certain opponents. It was usually other Chaos, but they also had Omi Chao, the annoying little flying instruction thing. This was pretty.
He's not annoying.
People find him annoying. I mean, you find him annoying too.
You're right.
This was obviously all massive improvements. This title also added Chao I guess I didn't have a picture of it, but Chao Kindergarten, which was included, which had like a few services in it, which was Chao Doctor, where you could they'll check out your Chao and they'll tell you his trait, and you can also heal them. a classroom where you could teach your Chao skills, like instruments or painting.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the Chao principal that would give you tips on raising them. The black market. This was only available through the internet for the Dreamcast. It was repackaged into the GameCube version that lets you use your rings to buy items like Chao hats and fruits, or also new eggs to hatch. That was pretty interesting. Did you ever use the black market, or were you not that into the Chao racing mechanic?
I used it, but you have to remember, like, you only had like a year with this thing, with the online services, really. It's not like 2003 rolled around and you're still like, oh yeah, I got my Dreamcast hooked up to the internet and everything's working. Like, everything started disappearing and, they just started pulling stuff from the internet.
That was sad times.
It sucks that it sucked. But I did experience it, but not enough to really remember it.
There was also the return of the VMU minigame, which I'm sure you're a big fan of this. Chao Adventure 2, it was called this time.
It was good.
Yeah, this time it was focused more on minigames than just your typical breeding. And it also allowed you to connect your VMUs and all that other stuff that the old one did. Did you put a lot of time into Chao Adventure 2? Because, like, personally, I wish I put more time into it. Because, like, dude, your batteries were running out so quick on those things. You know what I mean? So it's like I got lazy. Never changed it.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of laziness and also the fact that I had just spent so much time on Chao Adventure, and I didn't really at the time see the benefits of the sequel. I didn't see the big difference. I was like, I've done this. But looking back, I do wish I would have done more of it because it definitely looked improved. I mean, Chao in general were just overall improved. For
sure. That's not all, Barry. I know, we already talked about Sonic Adventure 2. It has a full story mode, 6 playable characters, 3 different gameplay mechanics, a full Chao raising system, a VMU minigame that you could add, but it also had a 2-player split screen mode, which was split screen has been a Sonic staple since Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic Adventure has 2 in the title, so obviously it has to have 2 players. Obviously. And one of the 2 players mode was racing or versus, right? And it was Sonic versus Shadow, 2 players. Tails versus Eggman and Knuckles versus Rouge. The Sonic... do we need to get into this? Did you play a lot of the 2-player mode? Because this is probably my least played mode for me.
Yeah, least played here too, just because, I mean, unless, I wish it had an online play, because then it would have been awesome, but dude, I can imagine the lag would have just been insane.
It would have been so sick, though. Come on.
Yeah, it would have been.
But, no, I never played it that much. Sonic Adventure's Twinkle Park card idea comes back in Sonic Adventure 2. It becomes unlockable if you finish Route 101 or 280. After this, you unlock a kart racing mode in the menu. You can play as Sonic, Shadow, Eggman, Knuckles, and Rouge. If you had access to the internet, you could also download Egg Robo, I think Big the Cat, Opa Opa, and Omichao. I think so, right? Yeah.
I have those, yeah.
Yeah. What are your opinions on the kart racing minigame? Are you surprised the Sonic team put so much extra effort in all this extra stuff? Like, they packed this game. Like, if you compare this to Sonic Forces looks like a measly little snack. Measly.
That's true, yeah. I mean, this really is the last time Sonic Team poured so much content into a Sonic game, and that's why I'm kind of hoping that this upcoming game really throws a lot in it. Because, I mean, not to talk about another franchise, but like the Yakuza games, they release, like 1 a year, and they throw so much stuff inside of them. It's time for Sonic to do that. It's time for us to have, like, tons of different mini games, like some deep A-Life simulator. Like, bring it back.
They need to build it up slowly.
This game, racing sucked. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. The racing thing in this game, it wasn't great, but there was so much content in the game that it was excusable. You were like, we didn't need this. It was a fun little mini game for one of the stages, but the fact that it's a full-on racing game too, like, okay.
I'll take
and
it.
And then on top of that, the fact that we had Opa Opa in it, that was sweet. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
So
it's funny because it's like, it sucked. I loved it. You know?
yeah, that's it. When you make a good single player game and all that extra stuff starts coming, I love it. So it's kind of like the kart racing game, mini game in Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's really janky, but I love it because of the story they built around it. It's just something extra. It's a great game already. So
right.
yeah, I want to talk about the downloads for this during the Dreamcast era. Sonic Team actually slowly started dripping these free DLC packs. The first one was like the Sonic theme menu that basically just changed the menu and the graphics and the voice clips to Sonic talking. This was released on
I did that.
6/23/01, so literally the day it came out. Day one DLC, baby. Sonic Adventure 2 had it. The second one was High Speed Rail, which came out the month after, on the 13th. This was just an oval-shaped car racing, track. Then they had this Tails theme file that same month, in the end of the month. Then in September, they released the Fantasy Zone, which I think which is probably one of the bigger packs, which gives you an Opa-shaped racetrack. Omi Chao writes Opa Opa to victory. This was released on September 16th. Or is 09 September, or is that August? Maybe it's August.
September.
Okay, September. All right. You sure it's not 09 because October is 10? Could be August. Anyway, they also did a Rouge, and a I always call it Rogue, and a Eggman theme file after this. Then a Egg Robo, which is another kart track with Egg Robo being playable, and then
that was cool. Yeah,
and then they were the final two came out on October and November. Halloween theme file, which gave you the Halloween costumes in the versus mode, and also the Christmas one.
That was sick.
Yeah, and here's my question. Why is Sonic Team so cheap with DLC nowadays? It's so crazy that they were so giving, so friendly. Like, why didn't they do theme files for their new games? Like Sonic Forces, where like Infinite will do the menus when you're selecting them. Like, they could have just slowly dripped content for a year for Sonic Forces, but they never did. And they never do.
They don't do that for any of their games. Like, Team Sonic Racing came and went, no DLC. Despite the fact that now the iOS version of the game is going to get classic Sonic DLC. It's so weird. We've discussed this offline, but like Sonic Team seems to be in a bubble where it's like the rest of Sega is like sweet DLC, cool boxed editions, and then Sonic Team's like, I don't know, we'll give them a Sonic movie keychain and they have to pay to get Super Sonic.
Like, nice, thank you.
Remember that? Paying to get Super Sonic.
Yeah. No, thank you. Didn't they make it free after a while, like for first buyers or something, because people complained?
Because we bitched about it.
That was stupid.
We complained. Yeah, all of us did.
So, usually in the level section of this podcast, I usually go through all the levels, but this is such a big, long episode, I decided to let Barry pick his top 5 levels. And I want you guys to critique him in the comments. I want you to tell me what you think of these levels and which ones are better than his. Because I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh boy, here we go.
He picked some, there's no shadow levels, but let's start. First one you picked was Metal Harbor from Sonic. Tell us why you like this level.
I like it because it's a very short and sweet level. I think you can play it in under 3 minutes. But because of that, it's very replayable. I like the idea of all the little floating platforms over the water because it honestly feels like a very classic stage. And that is until you unlock the Green Hill Zone at the end of the game. But I feel like I just feel like this one comes closest to feeling like a 2D Sonic game in 3D. I love the music. I love the little countdown. You have to get on the rocket ship, and then the music stops, and then you go up in the air, and then you go down. It's so cool, and it's so short but so sweet. So I love this one. I
do agree with the rocket thing. The getting there was pretty sick. The next one you chose was Pyramid Cave? Why this one?
Yeah. I love any ancient Egypt level in like anything. When I was a kid, I was really into ancient Egypt. I still kind of am. I think it's cool. I like the aesthetics. And then in this stage specifically, I mean, obviously it's not like ancient Egyptian music, but the music itself is very cool. It's got some great guitar riffs, and I like the gimmicks. I also like how it feels. It comes closest to feeling like the Lost World stage from Sonic Adventure, which I always think is a very strong stage that not a lot of people talk about. And there's just cool things like you speed up a lot, and then you slow down to do a puzzle, and then you speed up. Again, very replayable. Some cool set pieces like running around in the loops in that dark room, and then at the end you see the like Eggman like pyramid stuff. It's cool. I like this one. I think it's probably my second favorite Sonic stage in the game.
This one's an interesting one. Knuckles, Meteor Herd. I have trouble saying that word.
So I wanted to mix it up because you said pick 5 stages, but I also knew what your goal was here. So I wanted to not pick just pick five Sonic stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so this is my favorite Knuckles one, mainly for the music. I think this is such an awesome, catchy tune. But on top of that, like, it's Super Mario, what is that game? The
Galaxy.
The one where...
Galaxy.
Yeah, it's Super Mario Galaxy before Super Mario Galaxy. And I just thought it was so cool running around on these little planets. And to be quite honest, like, it worked really well. Like, it was not janky. The fact that you could fly onto a planet and experience its own gravity and then jump to a different one and fly. It was just so much fun to explore. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's probably the strongest Knuckles stage in general.
I'll agree with that. I'm a Knuckles hater, but that was definitely the one that always stuck in the back of my mind when I thought of him, was the little planet one, especially because Mario Galaxy copied them. The next one you got was Eggman Weapons Bed. Why this one?
So this one's kind of a weird one, just because, you know, I did crap on the shooting stages.
You did.
But what I like about this one is because I enjoyed Metal Harbor so much, I thought it was really cool to go back and play a stage I enjoyed so much as Sonic, but as Eggman, and to have the different mechanic in the same sort of environment. So it let me slow down a little bit more and appreciate all the little things like the fighter jets parked off to the side, just getting to look at like the textures and everything a bit better. So it was a kind of a fun new way to experience a stage I already really enjoyed in the game. And it's an aspect that I enjoy in general about Sonic Adventure 2, because I just think it's cool that you can play like a Sonic section, but then in that same stage experience it as a treasure hunt or as a shooting stage. And I think my last pick will definitely exemplify that even more.
So yeah, let's talk about your last pick. Last story, Cannon's Core. I don't want to do spoilers, but This is the end of the game, and I'm assuming you liked how it tied it all together.
I did. I thought it was really cool to have all the different characters playing kind of like one stage after another, but also talking to each other and like referencing what they were doing next. I think the only other time that they really tried this in the series was Sonic Unleashed, where you would switch between the Werehog and Sonic in Eggman Land, and it kind of fell flat for me. But here, it felt like a heist movie, you know, because they're like, Knuckles, you need to do this. I'm done. All right, now it's your turn. Okay, Sonic, you need to do this. And it felt like they took Sonic Adventure 2 as a whole and encapsulated the experience into one stage. And I just thought that was really cool and a pretty epic way to end the game. And I think it shared the same clock too, right? Like, the clock kept running when you would play different characters, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but then I think if you beat it with a lot of time, and you just like, oh, it's 3 more seconds left or whatever the story needed or whatever in the end. But like, no, I agree with you. It did feel like a heist movie. I think they really tied everything together really well. And I think this might be one of the, I don't know if I want to say, that has multiple characters where it really did feel like they thought it out all the way till the end, and they actually have a payout in the end. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't want to end the levels discussion without talking about one secret level that only hardcore fans know about. A little unknown retro stage that cool cats call the Green Hill Zone. You ever heard about this Green Hill Zone? I don't think it's been in that many games, but it was unlockable here.
No.
If you were brave enough.
Yeah, no,
if you were brave enough.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, if you're brave enough and you capture all 180 emblems within the game, you were awarded. You were allowed to play Green Hill Zone. The way you got them was basically getting A ranking in each level within the game. Obviously, Cannon's Court did not count. What is your opinion on the Did you actually get all the emblems and unlock this, or did you use some sort of game save from Planet Web? Don't lie.
I went to Booyaka.
I knew it.
.com, and I downloaded the complete save file, and I loved it. I thought this was such a cool addition. It was like the ultimate celebration of Sonic's 10th anniversary. And you guys, again, you got to remember, like, at the time, Green Hill Zone was not everywhere. It's not like we were seeing it in tennis and racing games and things like that. Like, this was a huge deal to not only see it again, but to see it with those Sonic 1 aesthetics, but in fully realized 3D. Like, it was huge. And now here we are in 2021, and people are like, oh, Minecraft has Sonic.
And Green Hill Zone.
Look at all the references. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's cool. I feel like Lego did it already, and half a dozen other games. It's just, it's not as special anymore. And I think this was the first and only time that it was truly special to see, like, a retro stage brought into 3D. I think that was really cool. And it's just a shame that it was so hard to unlock. I think that's my only
pet peeve
complaint. But hey, Booyaka. That's all you need.
Yeah, I agree. This is actually one of the games that I copied save files from a friend who had it complete. And, you could connect your VMUs. Definitely worth it. I looked online to see how long it would take you to, if you wanted to complete 100% everything there is to do in Sonic Adventure 2. I did put it in the notes, so if you haven't seen it, how long do you think it takes to beat Sonic Adventure 2 all the way 100?
I'm going to say 10 hours.
That's just the story mode. It's like 9 hours. To do everything, like unlock Green Hill Zone and all that, it takes 44 hours.
Wow.
So that...
I would never be able to do it. Some of those, it's so hard though, because like, sure, you might be good at like Sonic stages, but you have to be an expert at every stage in this game.
Oh yeah.
And so if you can't, you're screwed. Pretty much.
So let's talk about the music. I think something that's been iconic is we first talked about the new rock and roll aesthetic that Sonic Adventure went on the first Sonic Adventure Sega Talk, number 17. Check it out. This time we're going to continue that talk. Surprisingly, only 3 composers, if you're looking at the picture on YouTube, the 3 top ones are the returning ones, came back from Sonic Adventure. I think they also had 5 people working on it. This game also had 5 people working on it. Fumi Kumitani, who we talked about before, she started her career at Sonic Team doing nights, and she stayed there till Sonic Colors. Kenichi Tokai, I can't even say his name, returning. He started his career in Daytona, USA at Sega, and has even done new music in the latest Space Channel game. And obviously, Jun Sinu, how do you say his name? That's how you say it? Who started... I
think it's Jun... I always said Jun Sonoy.
Sonoy, I guess. It's such a weird name. It's like, it almost looks English, too. Who started off at Sonic 3 and is now sort of become the face of Sonic Adventure's music. Like, if you think of anyone, it's him. You go to any, like, live show, he's playing the guitar. And everybody wants his autographs. He's the most he's a rock star, basically, to Sonic Adventure fans. But the soundtrack also had newcomers. Tomoya Otani, who...
oh, yeah, Tomoya Otani. I love that guy.
Yeah, he just got off scoring Choo Choo Rocket for Sonic Team Japan. And then we also had Higo Tani, also known as Wall 5, who does techno tracks, and he's mostly known for producing 5 vocal tracks on the album. He also produced music for the anime Air Gear, which is quite similar to Jet Set Radio, and he even called himself Skunk Funk on it as a producer credit, which is a shout out to Hideki Naganuma, who is horny on Maine right now. You guys want to check him out? Right? All he talks about is being horny, right?
I asked him, he said he was like, I like boobs, and I like girls with no boobs. And I was like, do you like men with boobs? And he didn't reply to me.
He quote tweeted us, by the way. He did. He's like, you guys have boobs? All right.
Oh, yeah, did he do that?
Yeah. The time this time we're not going to be listening to any of the tracks on there, but I did go through an article talking about the most popular tracks via Spotify Play. So I'm going to count down from the 5 to 1, and tell me if you're surprised by these tracks. Won't Stop, Just Go for Greenfield Forest got 700,000 views. I'm assuming this is a while back, so they might be more inflated now. It Doesn't Matter, theme of Sonic the Hedgehog. A Ghost's Pumpkin Soup. Escape from the City, number 2. And what do you think number 1 is? I think you would guess it if you been to any concert.
Let me think. Like that, right? That's what they do in the
what?
When they play it. In Live and Learn.
Oh, Live and Learn. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
When Sonic and Shadow start doing this.
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. It just looks...
They start shaking their fists, but it looks like...
It looks like they're pleasuring themselves. But I was going to say...
there you go. Well, you said...
Okay, sorry. But does any of the top 5 songs actually shock you? Because to me, not really. Because if you've been on the internet and you've seen what people post... Basically, Ghost's Pumpkin Soup, Escape from the City, and Live and Learn are literally the most played tracks off of the soundtrack, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a Ghost Pumpkin Soup, it's kind of like a meme track now. It's like a joke track. That's why I think Meteor Herd is such a better song, just because it's like, it's catchy, it's sweet,
Are you telling me you didn't memorize the whole rap portion of Pumpkin Soup and start rapping it to your friends?
Try it. Do it right now.
No, I'm good.
What do you remember?
I didn't do that. Sorry.
I won't let it get to me. I'm just going to creep. Down on Pumpkin Hill, I got to find the missing piece. I know that it's here. I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I got to hold my head up. I have no fear. I probably seems... See, the thing is like I make up words if I can't understand them. So I'll be like, I probably seem so scary. A graveyard fairy? A ghost tried to approach me, he got leery. Ask him a question, he vanished in a second. Something pumpkin in an alley, fist metal crack. It's such a dumb song. I love it.
Yeah,
it is good. Okay, number 1 song.
Yeah, it's definitely dumb enough to love. It has that lovely... Yeah. Let's talk about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Because we're already really into this episode. I know, look at you. You don't even want to talk about it. But... we have to. There's people that played the game. I don't know if you read our Patreon comments, but it's something we should focus on. Just the way Sonic Team USA started its life at the start of the Dreamcast, doing an enhancement port of the original Sonic Adventure. Sonic Team USA was then tasked with porting Sonic Adventure 2 after the Dreamcast's death to the GameCube. While Sonic Adventure 2 launched on Dreamcast on June 23rd, the game was released on GameCube. I don't know why I put Dreamcast on the notes, but on December 20th, 2001. Literally the same year it came out on GameCube. Looking back, do you remember the GameCube port coming out so soon after the Dreamcast version? And admit it, did it bother you that Nintendo fans were going to get a taste of Sonic Adventure 2 so soon? Like, after the Dreamcast's death?
It did kind of bother me. I mean, this was the era of exclusives and touting exclusives. And, with the Dreamcast being, dead so quickly, like, I get it. They have to shovel some of their games to other consoles, but it did annoy me to see, like, oh, you can play Crazy Taxi on PS2? Well, I don't need a Dreamcast now. Or, oh, they've got all the Sonic games on GameCube. Okay, well, I don't need my Dreamcast anymore. And I am so appreciative that so many Sonic fans were created because of the GameCube ports. But at the time, it just annoyed me to hear people go, oh, I love Sonic. I played his first game on the GameCube, right?
Right.
And it's like, no. Oh, he's a Nintendo franchise, though, right? They bought him. It's just, kids are stupid. Kids are so stupid. So, I mean, I can't blame them for being idiots. And I'm not talking about kids now. I'm talking about kids in, like, 2001 who are like, yeah, my older brother told me they sold Sonic to Nintendo, and that's why they have his games on it now. Like, kids were such stupid experts at nothing.
And nothing, yes. I was going to say, are you surprised that how fast Sonic 2 moved on this port? Like, the fact that it's the same year. Not only that, but, like, they were just crazy back then. They were just, like, releasing these games like it was nothing.
Right, and I did crap on Sonic Adventure DX, but I think this is a port done right. Like, the extras are pretty cool, and they don't make you feel cheated if you're a Dreamcast fan, because it's like, oh, it's just an enhanced 2-player mode. And to be quite honest, I wasn't a big fan of the 2-player. So here it was like, oh, they put Chaos in it. They put Metal Sonic in it for 2-player.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel cheated as much. I just was kind of like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's most of the thing. I didn't really even talk about that kind of stuff on here because I thought it was kind of like self-explanatory, right? I mean, it is called Battle for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
but because this episode is long, I'm looking at some of the differences here, some of the bigger stuff, most likely. But first, for starters, the game menus got reworked, got new art. I'm not going to go into which version is better, at least here. Maybe I'll say what I prefer if I had to go back and play it. I will let readers decide for themselves, listeners decide for themselves, and let the heated discussions happen themselves, right? That's not my business. So first, let's look at some of the negatives or positives. First, gameplay-wise, Sonic Team did go and fix one big glaring issue with Knuckles. They added an exclamation mark when you're on the treasure, giving the users an easy way to find them, which was a big problem. I think it's a huge positive. It should have been updated in the original version, but whatever. They also changed the way damage was taken by Eggman and Tails. If you have a shield on the GameCube version and you got hit, you just lost the shield but not health. While in the Dreamcast, you would get hit, the shield would go away, and you got some of your health taken away. Multiplayer also runs at 60 frames per second, unlike 30 frames per second on the Dreamcast. Two-player mode also got 21 new stages added, which makes sense why, they retitled the battle. Like you said, there was way more unlockable characters too. That was a huge focus. Mm-hmm. This also included cutscenes. The FMVs were upgraded from 480 by 366 to 640 by 480, which is a pretty big boost in resolution. We'll go into the issues with the cutscenes later, but they do look less blurry for sure. The Chao system also got huge rework done, including more Chao variety, including a new two-tone and a monochrome Chao, including 4 new Jewel Chaos. Instead of transferring the Chao from the VMU, the new GameCube version allowed you to... there was also karate. I don't even know if I mentioned it, but there was karate added to it. I wish that one was on the Dreamcast. The karate. It's like, that's such a... It's one of my favorite modes in the GameCube version that I'm surprised they didn't, but they also... obviously, the VMU game, Chao Adventure 2, isn't in here, but they had a thing called Tiny Chao Garden, which was a 16-bit type mini game instead of the 1-bit VMU. I don't even know how many bits the VMU is. I'm going to say this. If you had the Kart, you had to have like another Kart of Mario. Like you had to have Sonic Advance 1 through 3 or Sonic Spinball or whatever on the Game Boy Advance to be able to transfer it. My thing with it is like I've never seen anyone with a GBA cable in my whole life. Have you? Have you ever met anyone with a GBA cable? Please tell me.
Yes, I had a friend who had it. His little brother was really into GameCube, and they did have that. And so I did witness one, but it's like, I mean, it makes more sense than the, man, remember when Dreamcast had the Neo Geo Pocket Color cable?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
how rare is that now?
I mean, it made more use of it than that did, but, yeah.
Let's see. Neo Geo Link Cable Dreamcast. I was going to say...
Oh, you looking
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's like $400. It's like $400.
And I remember I was at Video Games New York probably 15 years ago, maybe 14 years ago. They had a dozen of them, and they were like $20 each. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but I don't have a Neo Geo.
Whew. That would have been gold right there.
Well, I did buy Illbleed at that visit, and now that thing's insanely expensive. I got it for $15, so that was a win.
So... there are a few negative things about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, right? This is something that I've been posting on Twitter. If you follow us, people got upset, and they've been fighting in the comments section on Twitter, which I'm not surprised. Let's talk about some of the models and how they're slightly changed, but like as you could tell right here, Sonic, they say they're higher resolution, but there's one thing I noticed if you look at Sonic's shoes here, the Dreamcast has more detail. Am I going crazy or something here? Like the shoes have...
No.
Yeah. And so they also made them more skinnier and taller in the GameCube version. Just slightly. You see it?
It's almost like they squished the picture.
Pretty much is what it feels like, yeah.
Like he looks... even his shoes look higher. They look weird. And
then if you look at the next one is the Egg... the Egg Robo that you ride. This one you could definitely tell that the quality of textures are different. The light in the front on the GameCube is bigger, which is weird. Little designs like that always weird me out. But if you look at the gun on the left-hand side that has green, the logo is definitely more and easier to see on the Dreamcast version, and there's more detail on the red, like the scratches.
Right. Yeah, I remember the textures in the Dreamcast one, especially in those like later stages on the spaceship, were insanely sharp. It was insane how detailed they were. So I don't question how nice these character models look. So was the GameCube unable to render textures that sharp, or what was the deal? I'm
assuming that they had trouble porting it at the time it came out December 20th, so you could tell that Sega wanted to capitalize on the hype that they already did on the Dreamcast and for the holiday, and it like barely even made the holiday by 5 days. So I'm assuming that was their idea, and they were rushed, which is classic Sonic team fashion, right? The next one is Rouge, the Bat model, and you could tell they made her less thick. I mean, that's the only way to describe it here. She's skinnier on the other one, not by much, but if you look at her hips and stuff, and and the shadowing is different too. There's no shadows on the other model. It's weird. And her shoes are in pink on the bottom. Like they changed little things. I don't understand Sonic Team being like George Lucas or something, where they have to change just the smallest things.
I like Dumpy Rouge there in the Dreamcast. Me too. I like that.
Me too. It kind of gives you a different look of a character, you know.
She's cute.
Another thing that fans bring up is that the GameCube is actually color graded differently than the Dreamcast original, giving the game a slightly darker look, and in cutscenes sometimes lighting elements are outright missing. And there's other things too, where shadows are missing too. Like there wasn't the same shadowing effect. Here's the first one I posted on Twitter. This is obviously, if you look in the back, the Eggman neon light sign is missing on the GameCube version. Tails looks weird, right? Look at how he's looking at Sonic's crotch.
Look at Tails on he's like this.
Hey, Sonic.
Oh, Sonic.
He looks like a janky action figure.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell right here that the coloring is a little darker. What do you think about the coloring difference? Is that much of a big deal? Or which one do you prefer, the coloring?
Well, I mean, I was the guy who would get into arguments with people over how the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed was superior because the PlayStation 3 one had windmills that were missing their windmill. So, yeah, if you're going to show me this, I'm going to say the Dreamcast is superior just because the neon lights are there. You know, like, it's little things. Like, that's why I didn't like DX, because I saw screenshot comparisons, and I'm like, why did they make the building behind the Chaos Zero fight, like, less interesting? It makes no sense.
They do that here.
They redesigned... It's so weird, but it's never a better choice.
Yeah, they do that here, too. I was looking at some... You could go in the cutting room floor. There's a comparison with the pictures and everything next to each other. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, the computer screens, they, like, completely changed. Little things like that. It almost makes it seem like, why would you redo all this for no reason? I don't know. Sonic Team's a weird company. Right. Here's the Sonic in prison where he went for being horny. On the Dreamcast version, there's a lot more shadows with the bars and everything. The GameCube just does not have them at all. I think that adds a lot more mood to the scene, just having the shadows like that. So I'm going to have to say that definitely kind of hard to side with the GameCube. I mean, are kids not going to like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle because of stupid shadows or a neon sign? No. But you should play both, most likely, in my opinion. But definitely the single player aspect of it, I gave it to the Dreamcast version, even with the better, higher resolution cutscenes. The next one is that they changed the DLC costumes for the Phantasy Star Online. They redesigned them for no reason. What? Why? Why? No. Look at this. Isn't this a monstrosity?
I hate
also, one more that I added in the end, but I didn't put it on here. But in the Dreamcast version, you get to play on the 2-player mode as Big the Cat, one of the most iconic characters of all time. In the GameCube version, they changed him to a Dark Chao. Who cares? Dark Chao? They're not even in games anymore.
Right. You could play as him in Eggman's Walker, and it was like a super cheap, like, character swap.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. And then they replace him with a pretty cool, like, really well-designed, like, thing that is not as cool because it's not big. It's like a case of, like, oh, look, we tried harder this time. People are like, but where's Big the Cat? You know?
So there was also a 2012 version. I did read up about it. I didn't put it in the notes, but okay, this is what I don't get about Sonic Team. So the 2012 version is based off this version, the GameCube version, right? But they brought back Big the Cat. They put him back in. They took out the Dark Chao. Cool. But they took away, like, Chao Karate from the 2012 version. So it's like, what are you doing, Sonic Team? You're, like, adding things from the Dreamcast version and omitting, like, new features from the GameCube version.
Right. Yeah, and what was weird, too, is that they released... This was the Xbox Live Arcade version you're talking about, right?
Yes, the 2012 one, yeah.
They released the game as the Dreamcast port... But if you got the Battle DLC, it would turn into Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and there was no way to undo it. So it especially sucked if you had Sonic Adventure, and then that cool title screen, you would never see it again when you downloaded the Sonic Adventure 2 DX DLC. It became that crappy-looking DX title screen.
So this kind of leads me to talk, like, I think there's a huge market for, like, the ultimate versions of these games. Because, let's be honest, there's some really cool additions in the GameCube version, like, you know, adding for Chao, the 2-player being expanded. But also, there's some stuff that Dreamcast did better. I mean, isn't there a way to combine all this and having the ultimate version? Something like Sonic Colors Ultimate, maybe? I don't know.
Well, exactly. I thought that's where you were going with this, because... My hope is that Sonic Colors Ultimate opens the door for, like, an ultimate release, like, twice a year. Like, there's no excuse not to give us Sonic Generations Ultimate, Sonic Unleashed Ultimate, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 Ultimate. Like, just do it. Even if it's, like, a simple port, like if it's not like a total remake or remaster, I think it would be awesome. I'd love it. I wish they'd do it.
I do too. I think a lot of fans have been clamoring for this, and maybe Colors, if it does well, they'll open it up for more. I have a feeling they're going to do Unleash first before they do any of the other ones, but I'm hopeful that we get like an ultimate version of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 with all the best features, with some stuff to toggle in and out. That'd be cool. I think fans deserve it, especially new fans that never experienced these games. Maybe they could just remake the whole thing like a Kiwami title on the new engine, you know? Who cares? In the end of the day, as long as it plays good and it's a good game and a good remake, people will love it. So since recording, there isn't a Sonic Adventure 3. A lot of fans online have been kind of fighting that we already got Sonic Adventure 3. I don't know if you've been in these forums where people talk, this game's actually Sonic Adventure 3 is a spiritual successor. Here's an interview from Asuka, and he said it in the interview. So some of the titles that people call them, I guess, spiritual successors, sometimes it's because it has adventure in the name, sometimes because the gameplay has similar things. First one is obviously Sonic 06, because it has a hub world, a fleshed out story, multiple playable characters, and 2 new hedgehogs, Silver and, what is it, Mephiles. There you go. Yes, you're right.
I think.
And he's supposed to like be tied to Shadow. I forgot about this story, to be honest with you. When I was looking at cutscenes, I was like, actually, it's better than Sonic Adventure 2, the way they captured the movements. But the story itself, it's not
and lucky
great.
us, we don't have to do a Sega Talk, because that was one of the earliest Sega Talk episodes we did, was Sonic 06.
I kind of wish we got it back though, because like I mean I enjoyed talking about it, but we didn't have the format done yet, and we just had like somebody from Sonic Retro come up, and then we kind of just we lost ourselves.
Are you saying we're gonna do Sonic 06 again?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. There's a lot of Sonic titles we need to get to. The other title people say it is Sonic Unleashed, because it was called Sonic World Adventure in Japan. And then there's Sonic Rush Adventure, because it has adventure in the title, I guess. Which one of these? Yeah. I think Sonic 06 is probably the closest to Sonic Adventure 3, but it sucks, so who cares?
Right. Yeah. No, the thing is, it's difficult to say, because I've been a part of these forum arguments. I've looked back at the things I've written, and I'm like, where did I find the time to type that much? Like, I would type posts that were more in-depth and longer than articles I've written on websites. And I'm like, where did I find the time for this? But to be quite honest, my pick is Sonic Heroes. And the reason why I picked Sonic Heroes is it comes after these games. It follows up Shadow's story. It ties into Shadow the Hedgehog, which is kind of like the Ann Knuckles spin-off that kind of completes the story. So really, if you're looking at like the Sonic Adventure saga, it's Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, and Shadow the Hedgehog. That gives you a semi-cohesive story from beginning to end. 06 to me is really like a reboot. But you're right. It is like, just in terms of like layout, it's the closest to Sonic Adventure 1 that we have ever gotten outside of Sonic Unleashed, maybe.
I would say,
my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Sonic Heroes, I guess, would be one. I always forget about Sonic Heroes when we talk about Sonic games, because to me, it's like I was already kind of getting out of it and was getting more into hardcore, like older titles, more like rare titles at the time, especially with the internet. I was like, I could play any game in any era on an emulator. That's crazy. So that to me,
but like you look at Heroes and how it's formatted. So Sonic Adventure was play each little game and they all tie together, and then you play the final one. Sonic Adventure 2 was we took the heroes and villains, you jump around between gameplay styles. So Sonic Heroes was, we're going to take different teams of characters. You can switch them on the fly within the game, and then when you complete their little story, like in Sonic Adventure 1, you play the other story, and then you unlock the final stage. The problem is it got really boring real fast to play the same game like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
But on paper, it sounded so cool, and to be quite honest, it made a bundle of money for Sega to the point where, and we'll definitely cover this in the future, it led to Sonic Boom. So, it's kind of weird to see it. Really, Sonic Adventure as like a 1 and 2 duology, it branched out. Like it impacted so many games to follow. And I'm very interested to see what Sonic 2022 turns out to be, because from what I'm hearing, like people go, "Oh, it's Breath of the Wild Sonic." Don't say that. That's giving
running?
Breath of the Wild it's giving them too much ownership of something that has existed for decades. It's like how people say, "Oh, Mario invented the kart racing genre," even though Yu Suzuki did it years earlier. It's like, if anything, I feel like it might be us coming back to the games more like Sonic Adventure 1. But instead of adventure fields or action stages, it's all one big adventure field action stage, which would be awesome. I mean, that's what I've been wanting for years. So fingers crossed it's good. Yeah.
Any closing statements you want to say to the cool cats and kittens out there about Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, or Sonic Adventure 2 Xbox Live Arcade and PSN version?
I will just say that, yes, it is an incredibly important game in Sonic's history. I would argue it's probably like the second most important game after Sonic 1, just in terms of establishing, things that would later become, I don't want to say benchmarks, but like just like expected additions to the series. Like, I feel like fans wanting a Sonic Adventure 3 more often than not want something like Sonic Adventure 2, and we keep almost getting it. I still think Sega could drop a Sonic Adventure 3 on us, and it could work, especially after Sonic 4 came and went. Like, they're not afraid to drop a out-of-nowhere numbered game. I think it would be funny if Sonic Adventure 0 was announced and it was a prequel, like an in-between game that was like classic Sonic in 3D. That would piss a lot of people off. But
I just want
great game. I like it. What are your thoughts?
I don't have many thoughts. This has introduced a lot of new things like the somersault, the grinding, Shadow the Hedgehog, gun. Some of it is good, some of it is bad, some of it is overused already, I think. Like, Shadow needs a purpose to be in games. In this game, he has a purpose. And I think that's what makes him so good. And I think that's why it made so many, generations of Sonic fans like him. This is the game you want to play to like Shadow. I just wanted to close it off in saying, why do you think Sega never made Sonic Adventure 3 like right after 2? Like, these games were popular. This was the reboot mainline, and then they just did Sonic Heroes.
I think the shakeup after the Dreamcast led them to have to create a game that would be multi-platform, and in doing so, they had to make a lot of concessions. So, I mean, Sonic Heroes did not have Chao, it didn't have racing, it didn't have all these mini games. It honestly was a very small game by comparison, especially given the fact that it's the same game 4 times.
Yeah.
It just seems bigger because you have so many characters. And they probably felt internally that it just did not live up to the name Sonic Adventure 3. And I also think they wanted to bring new fans in and to kick off Sonic's first multi-platform game with the third game in a franchise that is not available on any of the platforms except for GameCube would kind of suck, because then like Xbox fans or PlayStation 2 fans would be like, well, I didn't play the other two and I don't own a Dreamcast or a GameCube, so this sucks. So it really, I think they felt the need to reboot, just not reboot, but to reestablish a new
brand.
brand. And I think what's stranger, if anything, is that why didn't they do a Sonic Heroes 2? Like, it sold insanely well, and I don't know why they didn't try to do it again. My only guess is that they felt like, even though it sold well, the reviews just weren't there. The hype just wasn't there like it was behind Sonic Adventure 1. And from then on out, it was like rebooting Sonic the Hedgehog, 2006. Rebooting Sonic Unleashed, 2008. And then from there on out, they're afraid to do sequels. And it's so strange. The only time we have ever had direct sequels to main series games was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic Adventure 2, right?
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like, even Generations was such a hit, and they didn't think to just do Sonic Generations 2. I don't think people would have been angry. Honestly, like, make it a 5-year thing. Like, for the 25th anniversary, you do Sonic Generations 30th anniversary. You know, like, they're afraid. I don't know. And I guess Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of like the end of sequels. We're not going to see Forces 2.
No. That's for
sure.
Definitely not.
I don't know. Maybe this 22 game becomes so big that they're like, this is the future, and we're going to do like 2 and 3, and I don't know. We'll see. I hope so, because I'm tired of this pivoting. I'm tired of them going, oh, every game is a standalone title with its own little subtitle. You know, it's time to be like Yakuza. I don't think they need to be afraid to get to Sonic 4 for like a 3D franchise, like Sonic Rangers 4, if it's good. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah. And that's everything for this episode. Do you want to kick off the ending by reading some of the Patreon's comments, which some are pretty long. People have some strong opinions when it comes to Sonic Adventure 2, I've noticed.
That's true. Well, yeah, so if you support us at any level on Patreon, we will read your memories at the end of the episode. So let's get into it. We have Alexa Carroll, who I believe is a new backer, so welcome. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle holds a very special place in my heart, being the first game that really made me fall in love with video games as a medium. While I had played and enjoyed many games before this, I hadn't experienced one that was so seamlessly melded a narrative and gameplay together in a way that enhanced both. I was so used to games with excuse plots and games without any story at all. So when I saw that opening cutscene of Sonic jumping out of a helicopter, saying a cheesy one-liner, and jumping straight into a level that kept up that energy and excitement, my kid mind was blown away. I had no idea video games could do something like that, and it really opened my eyes to what games can do. I'll never forget my memories with this game, replaying the levels, spending hours and hours racing Chao, playing the multiplayer with friends and family, listening to the soundtrack, which sounded like nothing I've ever heard in a game before, being shocked to see Green Hill Zone as an unlockable stage at a friend's house, and replaying the game from the start and getting stuck on Pumpkin Hill each and every time before I got a memory card. Oh God, I'm having flashbacks to Sonic Adventure 1 when that happened to me. Although nowadays I have my issues with it, like with how I think the story has a couple tonal issues and how I think the gameplay is too linear for its own good. At the end of the day, I can't help but still love it. Happy 20th anniversary to the game that made me a fan of Sonic, Sega, and video games as a whole. And Daniel Andress replied, "Amen to that, sister. What a beautiful game indeed."
Right?
I like that. Next up, we have Nicholas Schaefer. He says, "This game has a very special meaning to me. It starts January 31st. I had taken all the money from my summer job and took my buddies to the mall. With $600, we hit the arcade, food court, and then GameStop to buy my first new in-the-box console. I got the Sonic package for $120. It came with Sonic Adventure Shuffle, a demo disc, and a demo of Sonic Adventure 2. When we came home, we took turns playing for the next 48 hours straight, and we mostly played the demo of SA2. It blew our minds, but my dad chewed me out for being irresponsible with my money because I made the worst spending decision of my life because Sega just announced that the Dreamcast was done. He was so wrong. You're wrong, Dad. The worst financial decision I ever made was selling that console to buy a Wii, only to pay 3 times more money to buy it back 2 years later.
Do you remember that pack?
And then he added, that it was like a Sonic bundle?
Yeah, it came with Sonic Shuffle and Adventure. I remember I had a N64 at the time. I already had a Dreamcast, but then I sold it because it was such a good price, $120 with 2 games, to get the Dreamcast, another Dreamcast. That's how good I thought the price was.
I had no idea. I didn't know it had the demo. Did it?
I don't know if it
really?
had the demo,
That's interesting.
but I do know that it had Shuffle in the first game. I know that. I'm not sure about the demo though.
If it did have the demo, there's no way it was any special packaging, because I would have heard about that. How people are like, oh, did you get the SA2 demo in the cardboard sleeve? It sells for $600 on eBay. You know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nicholas added, Patreon thoughts are going to need their own podcast. And then Daniel said, maybe they should split this into 2 parts. We're having intermission. Well, here we are nearing the 2-hour mark, and we are not doing that, Daniel. We are doing everything right now. So that does it. Those are the memories. And Sonic Adventure 2, thank you so much. I had the strategy guide next to me the whole time. I never got to show it, but maybe I'll Instagram that. Post that out there for you guys.
Thank you.
Wrap it up.
The next episode is your episode. Do you want to tease anything? You don't even know.
Well, Jesus, I don't even know, because I am having a new baby, so I am gonna be in Babiesville. So maybe I'll pick something that'll be easy to record and easy to cover during that hectic time. Am I gonna pull the snail maze card? Is that gonna happen?
Maybe. I was gonna say,
if
he's born near the 23rd, almost Sonic's birthday, that's pretty good. Eggman.
I tried to make it happen. But hey, that means I get to watch the concert tomorrow. And there's a video going out by SEGA, which I think I will be in, so keep your eyes peeled.
That's it for this episode of Sega Talk. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye. I wonder.